Hi guys, Scotty here with another DBZ Dokkan Battle video for you. In this video, we're going to be looking at how you can get the Extreme Super Battle Road done, the latest one that just dropped for Planetary Destruction category characters only. So I'm going to have both teams up on the screen in a second, so the one I used and another one you can take. There are quite a few units that have received really nice buffs in this category. So you can either just go straight Planetary Destruction with a couple of leads here. You've got the AGL LR Freezer lead that recently EZA'd, as well as the LR Int Broly lead. That could be good as well. Or you could go the movie bosses route and go with the Int Tech Broly, sorry, not the Int Tech Broly, the LR Tech Broly as your movie bosses lead, and then build out a movie bosses / Planetary Destruction team there, because there's a lot of overlap with good units on there as well. Anyway, in the end, this team here pretty much rocked this. Didn't feel, I think I know itemed this as well, that if you have the LRAGL Freezer that recently ECA'd, he is such a powerhouse in events like this because of his, sure, his damage reduction slowly goes away every 2 turns, but with the shorter fight, it resets every fight, so he's really built for events like this that are not super long and have lots of fights where they get to reset. So once you get your rotation set up, you are almost invincible. Yes, we're taking some damage just in the beginning here with type disadvantage and all of that, but we will be surviving. Just a little note, I am sorry about the dark mode. I fix it after the first fight. If you want to skip this first fight because it's too irritating to watch, I totally understand, but I do fix it before we go into the next few fights, so that's totally my bad. But yeah, we take a little bit of damage here and there, and I was just seeing if I could no item it, which we managed to. But really, if you just like Ghost Ushered here there and then hit up some Wheeze and Icarus and that, you will be absolutely fine. These guys will be totally invincible. And one of the things I want to point out that you just saw there as well, that's a really great for this team, is LR Int Broly as a lead. If you do bring him as a lead and you get a second one, they do stun on their super. They have a chance to stun. So that is so helpful for these fights because none of these units are immune to being stunned. So stunning in these ESBRs is a big thing, and that can help a lot, and that LR Int Broly is great for this. So we're going to have him on the first rotation with the Tech Broly, and then ideally you'd want on the next rotation LR AGL Freezer, as well as the STR Broly, the LR STR Broly that recently ECA'd as well, that has an AoE attack, because he is going to be just a complete powerhouse defensively and offensively in this fight. He's got an AoE attack in a fight that has tons of units that you're fighting against, tons of bosses, so he is going to be super duper useful for that. Now, if you can possibly avoid using any items in the first fight, that's going to give you 2 items per, or 4 items actually, per fight in the last 2 fights, so that will be a guaranteed pretty much win like that. So if you can try avoid using any items and you are struggling, maybe your units are not so rainbowed, or you're just struggling with this category, try only use at maximum 1 item in the first fight if you can, and then you should then have a bunch more items to use, and you can just spam with those to get the stun if you don't have any of the newer units. But if you do have the newer units, and easy as that, like you see that LR Int Broly, they're coming in again with his stun. It's just so useful, that stun. So yeah, that is definitely a big thing. So if you do have any of the new units, you should be good. And when I say new units, I mean a bunch of these EZAs. They have just been so powerful and so useful, and the Broly team is still kicking and still doing very well from last year. The LR Int Broly / the LR Tech Broly combo is still very powerful, as long as you can get LR Int Broly's his domain up in the later fights, because he needs that guard to survive. But yeah, there's a lot of AoE attacks on you as well. But let's skip ahead here to the next fight. So here we've got our pretty much our ideal rotation set up here. AGL Freezer is going to tank everything without an issue, and then you're going to have Broly in the next slot. He'll super a bunch of times, he'll AoE attack, all of that, and this Freezer needs to get hit to do any damage, so you do want him to get hit, especially early on, because when he has his full passive, his full 90% damage reduction, that's when you want him to be taking most of his smackdowns. And then not much you can do if he doesn't roll around. He's in the 7th slot. It's just too bad. But you do want him to try take it earlier on, if possible, or in the fight. So that will just let him get his defensive chops up there, and then he will start being able to deal out a whack ton of damage. He doesn't look very impressive until he gets hit a few times and he starts to super himself as well. But this Broly will be very, very useful for this fight. Hopefully you do have him by now. He is not a new unit. Very OG unit, so going to be very helpful if you have him, especially, like I said, this AoE attack is just going to tear through everyone, and defensively he seems to be doing very, very well. Now, one thing I will say as well, just again with those LR int Brolys, is try and target different bosses with them. Like for instance on my next rotation there, you can see I've got both of them coming up for their turn, so I need to aim obviously the boss is dead here, but if not, try put int on say the AGL King Frieza, and then AGL King Vegeta, and then put the other int one, the one of the third rotation, on the other boss there, on Bardock, so that you can actually try get a chance to stun both of them, because that'll give you a 2-turn stun, which will be incredible, 2 free turns of damage, and you'll not have to worry about anything defensively like that. But yeah, this should be good. This tech Broly is still putting in a ton of work. Still a fantastic unit, 76% damage reduction with guard, and AoE attack again is very, very useful here. So that should get you through the next phase here. Nothing super special. And lastly, on to the final fight here against Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. So luckily we've got all our rotations all set for this. We should be totally good. That Beerus in the back there, you do need to be a little bit careful with him. He's got some health requirements for his damage reduction and guard. So you really do, if you are falling below health, you need to probably watch out and maybe pop an item. So if he's getting below 60% health and that, he's going to lose the damage reduction, he's going to lose guard, and he's just going to be utter fodder. So if he doesn't have health, pop an item, protect him. Otherwise, he should be fine. I think he does take a bit of damage in this run, even at full passive, just because of how hard everything hits these days. Crazy that 60% damage reduction in guard is no longer an invincible tank, where that was just a little while ago when we had the Tech Vegeta, the Great Ape one that came out and was the most insane slot one tank. Nope, not really anymore. It's not enough now. Yeah, so just watch out for that as well. That could be a problem if you might catch you out a few times with that. But hopefully you've got a few items here, even if you just have like a couple, so that you can maybe Ghost Usher here for a turn if you say you didn't have a lot of health for Beerus. And definitely once, you see there we're taking just those normals, so we may have died from a super attack there. Luckily we didn't get hit, and luckily we have a full rotation of uncontrollable rage, so we are able to pop our domain, which is going to buff us up completely, and it is going to grant into Broly his guard, which makes him infinitely more tanky. So that is going to be very, very useful for the entire team. And now we can just go ham, and it's just Vegeta left, so we're going to be destroying him. But I hope this has helped. I'm going to leave you there, and thank you so much for watching, and I will check you guys in the next one. Cheers.